When you truly take the time to observe a woman's emotional patterns instead of getting hypnotized by her beauty, her attention, or the way she makes you feel in the moment, you begin to see the truth behind the surface. Most men rush into relationships because they are lonely, insecure, or desperate for validation. They commit before they observe, they attach before they understand, and that is why they get blindsided later. A woman's emotional consistency is one of the most honest indicators of her character, her readiness, and the kind of partner she will be. Emotions don't lie, behavior doesn't lie, patterns don't lie, and a grounded man knows that who she consistently is during both the highs and lows will tell you everything you need to know. When a woman feels something strongly, it shows up in her actions. If she respects you, she shows up on time, she communicates openly, she doesn't ghost you, and she doesn't create unnecessary drama. If she values emotional stability, you see it in how she handles stress. She doesn't explode over small things. She doesn't blame the world for her problems. And she doesn't project her insecurities onto you. Instead, she tries to understand, works through her feelings, and communicates with maturity. But if she lacks emotional grounding, the signs begin to show very early. Small disagreements escalate into accusations. Minor inconveniences turn into meltdowns. One misunderstanding makes her withdraw completely. She becomes reactive instead of responsive, dramatic instead of composed, inconsistent instead of reliable. A wise man pays attention to how a woman deals with disappointment. That moment reveals her true emotional strength. Anyone can be sweet when things are going their way. Anyone can be loving when they feel adored. But character shows when she doesn't get what she wants. Does she communicate honestly or use silent treatment? Does she stay open or become manipulative? Does she express her needs or punish you for not reading her mind? These moments expose whether she is emotionally mature or emotionally impulsive. A woman who has done her inner work doesn't run from uncomfortable feelings. She doesn't rely on emotional chaos to feel alive. She doesn't let her moods dictate her relationships. Instead, she remains centered even when she's upset. She takes responsibility for her part, and she chooses connection over control. Another powerful indicator is how she talks about the people in her life. If every ex is crazy, every friend betrayed her, every coworker was jealous, and every family member misunderstands her, you need to see that as a pattern, not a coincidence, because emotionally grounded women don't live in constant conflict. They don't burn bridges everywhere they go. They don't see themselves as victims in every story. They speak with accountability. They speak with reflection. They speak with awareness. The way a woman talks about her past is often a mirror of how she will behave in your future. A man must also observe how she handles uncertainty. Does she panic, rush things, or pressure you to move faster? Or does she let the connection develop naturally? Emotional maturity is shown through patience. An emotionally secure woman doesn't need constant reassurance. She doesn't fear silence. She doesn't interpret a busy day as rejection. Instead, she gives you space to be a man. She has her own life, her own purpose, and her own emotional stability. She doesn't cling to you. She aligns with you. The way a woman values herself silently teaches you how she will value you. You don't even have to ask. Her habits, her boundaries, and her lifestyle reveal her entire internal world. A woman who respects herself moves through life with a certain standard. She doesn't chase attention because she doesn't need external validation to feel worthy. She doesn't tolerate disrespect because she knows she deserves better. She doesn't entertain inconsistent men because she understands the energy she brings into her life shapes her future. When a woman has self-respect, she automatically extends that same respect toward the man she chooses. She treats him with care. She communicates with clarity, and she shows appreciation without being asked. A woman who values herself becomes a woman capable of valuing a masculine, purpose-driven man. On the other hand, a woman who lacks self-worth lives in emotional chaos. She may be beautiful, charming, exciting, even seductive, but beneath all that lies insecurity. Insecurity always manifests in behavior. She might overreact to small things, compare herself to other women, or depend on constant reassurance. She might fail to maintain healthy boundaries, allowing anyone and everyone access to her time and energy. She may get involved in dysfunctional friendships, toxic family dynamics, or unstable relationships because deep down, she doesn't believe she deserves peace. And when a woman doesn't value herself, she cannot value you in the long run. She may admire you at first, even put you on a pedestal, but eventually her internal instability spills into the relationship. Her lack of grounding becomes your stress. Her emotional turmoil becomes your responsibility. Her unresolved wounds become your battles. A wise man knows that self-value is not about perfection. It's about patterns. A feminine, grounded woman honors herself through her daily choices. Look at how she treats her body. Look at how she spends her time. Look at who she surrounds herself with. Look at how she responds to disrespect. Women who value themselves do not allow chaos into their lives. They don't tolerate men who breadcrumb them. They don't stay in places where they're not appreciated. They don't abandon their standards just to feel loved for a moment. They understand that love without self-respect eventually becomes self-destruction. When a woman values herself, her energy is different. She walks with quiet confidence, not loud insecurity. She doesn't need to prove anything to the world because she knows her worth. She doesn't need to control a man because she feels secure in her femininity. She doesn't need to test you repeatedly because she already trusts her choice. And when a woman carries herself with this kind of grace, she naturally inspires a man to show up fully. She becomes the kind of woman who adds peace, support, and softness to his life, not fear, drama, or confusion. But when a woman doesn't value herself, she will unintentionally sabotage even the best relationships. She might accuse you of things you've never done. She might project her insecurities onto you. She might act jealous, clingy, or emotionally reactive because she fears losing you more than she values herself. She may depend on your strength because she lacks her own. And while a man can support a woman who is growing, he cannot rescue someone who refuses to stand on her own emotional foundation. This is why Corey Wayne always emphasizes that a man must watch what a woman does, not what she says. Words can be sweet, charming, or seductive, but behavior reveals truth. A woman who values herself behaves like it. She sets boundaries gracefully, not aggressively. She communicates without trying to manipulate. She gives without keeping score. She receives without feeling unworthy. Her self-value becomes the blueprint for how she treats you. In the end, a man must align himself with a woman whose self-respect matches his standards. A woman who values herself will elevate your life. She will bring stability, softness, and connection. She will respect your mission, your time, and your masculine frame. She won't drain your energy. She will complement it. But a woman who does not value herself will unintentionally drain you, confuse you, and disrupt your purpose. So pay attention. Her relationship with herself sets the tone for the relationship she will have with you. Choose a woman whose self-value reflects the kind of life you want to build. A secure man needs a secure woman. A grounded man needs a grounded partner. And a man who values himself chooses a woman who does the same. A woman's relationship history isn't about counting how many people she dated. It's about understanding the emotional patterns that shaped her. Numbers don't tell you anything meaningful. Patterns tell you everything. A mature man doesn't obsess over her past. He studies how she has moved through her past. He isn't interested in gossip, rumors, or insecurity-driven assumptions. He's interested in growth, accountability, and whether she has learned from the experiences life has put her through. Because the truth is simple, humans repeat what they don't repair, and if she hasn't evolved from her past patterns, those same patterns will show up in your relationship. When a woman talks about her past with maturity, you can hear the difference instantly. She doesn't blame every ex for everything. She doesn't paint herself as the flawless angel in every story. She doesn't claim everyone else was the villain. Instead, she speaks with reflection. She understands her part. She acknowledges where she made mistakes and what she learned. This is emotional responsibility, and it is one of the strongest indicators of a woman who is ready for a healthy, stable relationship. Growth-minded women evolve. They don't repeat the same toxic cycles because they've done the work to break them. But when a woman refuses to take accountability, her patterns stay the same. That's when you hear lines like, "All my exes were crazy," "Everyone betrays me," "No man ever treated me right," or "I've never done anything wrong." When every relationship she's been in ended because of the other person, that's not a pattern of bad luck, that's a pattern of avoidance. A woman who hasn't self-reflected will repeat emotional immaturity no matter how good of a man she meets. Not because she's bad, but because she hasn't healed. She hasn't grown. She hasn't evolved past the version of herself that created the problems in the first place. A man must pay close attention to recurring emotional behaviors. These patterns reveal who she is far more clearly than her words. If she jumps from relationship to relationship without taking time alone, that indicates she fears being with herself. If she constantly seeks validation, attention, or reassurance, it reveals an internal void no partner can fill. If she has a history of unstable relationships, constant drama, or quick emotional shifts, those patterns aren't random. They are learned behaviors from her past. And without conscious effort, those same behaviors will resurface with you. The important thing to understand is that patterns don't define her worth, they define her readiness. A woman with a chaotic relationship history isn't necessarily a bad woman. Often, she simply hasn't done the inner work required for a healthy connection. But a man who is stable, driven, and grounded must protect his emotional world. He cannot build a peaceful life with someone who lives in emotional volatility. Peace and chaos cannot coexist. A man must choose the woman whose patterns align with the future he wants, not the fantasy he hopes for. One of the most revealing patterns is how she handles conflict. Does she shut down, lash out, or become vindictive? Does she escalate small disagreements into emotional wars? Or has she learned healthier ways to communicate, listen, and resolve tension? Her conflict style in past relationships will almost certainly be the same with you, unless she has consciously worked on it. Another powerful pattern to observe is how she chooses partners. Does she always pick emotionally unavailable men? Narcissistic men, men who treat her poorly. If so, she hasn't healed the parts of herself that are drawn to dysfunction. And if she hasn't healed that attraction, she may struggle to feel safe with a stable, masculine man, not because you're doing something wrong, but because stability feels foreign to someone who is used to instability. A mature man understands that the past is not something to judge, it is something to interpret. He watches the trajectory of her emotional evolution. Has she grown or stayed the same? Has she learned or repeated? Has she taken responsibility or avoided it? These answers determine whether the connection has long, long-term potential. The energy a woman brings into your life is the clearest indicator of her true intentions, even when her words sound perfect. Energy never lies. You can feel it when she's genuine, when she's uncertain, when she's chaotic, and when she's aligned. Most men ignore this because they're too focused on attraction, fantasy, or the validation they get from her attention. But a man who pays attention to her energy can see the truth long before problems ever start. The way she shows up emotionally, spiritually, and mentally reveals more about her than anything she tries to present on the surface. A woman's energy is a reflection of her internal world, her relationship with herself, and the type of connection she's capable of building. When a woman has secure, feminine energy, you feel it immediately. She brings peace, not pressure. She brings softness, not chaos. She supports your growth instead of competing with it. Her presence makes your life feel lighter, not heavier. She encourages you to stay aligned with your purpose, not distract you from it. Feminine energy is not weakness, it's openness, receptivity, emotional intelligence, and connection. A woman rooted in this energy isn't trying to control you, test you, or manipulate situations. She trusts the flow of the relationship because she is aligned within herself. She communicates with emotional clarity, not hidden agendas. She expresses her needs without attacking. She listens without preparing a counterargument, and when conflict arises, she seeks understanding rather than escalation. This energy creates a relationship where both partners feel safe, respected, and connected. But when a woman carries chaotic or immature energy, her presence feels different from the start. You may feel confused, drained, or unsettled without being able to explain why. She may say the right things but behave inconsistently. One moment she's affectionate, and the next she's distant. One day she's invested, and the next she's creating unnecessary drama. Her presence feels unpredictable because she is not anchored in herself. This kind of feminine chaos usually stems from unresolved insecurities, emotional wounds, or patterns she has never confronted. She may not intend to bring chaos into your life, but if she hasn't healed, she will. Emotional instability leaks into every connection she forms, not out of malice, but out of habit. And if you ignore those signs early on, you'll end up trying to stabilize someone who can only stabilize herself. The energy she brings also reveals her intentions. A woman who is genuinely interested in you brings effort, not excuses. She brings consistency, not confusion. She makes time instead of making you chase. She shows through her actions that she wants to build, not play games. Her desire to connect feels natural, not forced. Her interest flows toward you without needing to be demanded, tested, or proven. If she truly sees your value, she invests emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She leans into the connection instead of keeping one foot out the door. On the other hand, a woman who is unsure, emotionally unavailable, or dating for validation brings mixed signals. She wants attention but not commitment. She wants closeness but fears vulnerability. She wants emotional intimacy but avoids accountability. Her energy is inconsistent because her intentions are inconsistent. A man aligned with his purpose must be very cautious with this type of woman, not because she's bad, but because her uncertainty can sabotage your emotional stability. If she hasn't sorted out what she wants, you become the collateral damage of her confusion. Energy also reveals whether she respects your masculine role. A woman who respects you naturally embraces her feminine energy around you. She doesn't try to dominate or compete. She doesn't try to break your frame. She doesn't resent your leadership. She appreciates it. She gives you space when you need it, supports your mission, and values your emotional presence. But a woman who struggles with her own internal alignment may clash with a grounded man because she feels threatened by stability she doesn't yet possess. Ultimately, a man must evaluate not just how a woman looks, speaks, or behaves, but how she feels in his life. Does your mind feel clearer or more confused? Does your energy feel lifted or drained? Do you feel supported or criticized? A woman's energy either aligns with your growth or disrupts it. Pay close attention. Her energy is the truth beneath the words, the reality beneath the charm, and the blueprint of the relationship you will experience with her.